The Unbreakable Boy is a drama family film that is finally out in theaters and will be coming to VOD sometime in April. Hey everyone, my name is Ryan. Thank you guys for clicking on this video, whether you're new to the channel or whether you are returning to the channel. Thank you guys, I appreciate it. And if you are new, why not hit the subscribe button? I do reviews like this all the time on the channel. Give the video a like and also comment below what your thoughts on The Unbreakable Boy are. Now, this film was directed by Jon Gunn, and he's done one other film I've seen before, and that is Ordinary Angels, which came out last year and was a pretty solid film. This film, it stars Zachary Levi, Meghann Fahy, Jacob Laval, and Gavin Warren. Now, this film, what is it ultimately about? Well, it's about this little boy named Austin. He has a brittle bone disease, and he also is autistic as well. Now, this film, it's been delayed for many years. It was supposed to come out back in 2022. Every single year, I've seen a trailer for this film, and I just didn't even know if this was going to ever see the light of day. Really, after a while, I was just like, just drop it on streaming. I mean, you've had a new trailer every single year, and they finally dropped it into theaters. So what did I think about this movie? Well, I'm going to be honest. I really wasn't a fan of this film, but I will start off by saying that this film, having Austin as this character and having him as a boy that is autistic and has this brittle bone disease, you have to feel sorry for him. Just being born like this and having a condition like this, it's just heartbreaking. He, throughout this film, breaks his bones several different times, and it's just heart-wrenching to see something like that. Throughout this film, you have Austin narrating, and I was half and half on how he was narrating, because in the beginning of the film, he talks about his mom and dad and how they actually got together. I thought it was really weird that he narrates like how they went on dates and such like that, because you weren't born then, so I don't know why you would really know that information. And obviously, if the mom and dad actually told him, that's different. But I just thought it was weird that he was really narrating all that before he was really born. I can understand like narrating after the fact and when you're a kid and growing up, that would make sense. But I thought it was weird that he was narrating in that aspect. I mean, it was cute that he was narrating and just talking about his life and such like that. I was okay with that, and it was cool that we got to really see him really experience certain things in here. He has a brother as well, and it's cool to kind of see them bond throughout this film, so I enjoyed that as well. But with this film, I didn't like how it was really structured. I felt like a lot of times in this film, Austin is not the main attraction here. It's very much the father and the mother, but mainly the father, because he has an alcohol problem in which he is drunk driving all over the road. He doesn't know how to handle his kid very well. And also with the fact that he doesn't know how to handle his kid very well, there's some really weird moments in here. Like I said, Austin, he breaks his bones a lot throughout this film, and they make a joke out of that because he breaks his bones, I imagine, like over 40 times in here, and they actually have like a counter of how many times he breaks his bones, and they make a joke out of that, and I just didn't really like it. I thought it was very distasteful to really have that in a film and make a joke out of it. I just don't think that's really funny. I understand it's a lighthearted family kind of film, so they want to kind of, I guess, make light of the situation, but I didn't like it. I thought it was very distasteful to have that in a film, so I didn't agree with that whatsoever and making a joke out of that, because later on, he's actually swinging on a swing, Austin, and he gets knocked over, and then there's like this dramatic scene where the dad is actually panicking and he has to go to the hospital and everything, and I was just like, okay, so he breaks his bones over 40 times, and then you have that scene, you try to make it dramatic. I was like, no, I don't agree with this whatsoever. So just like little things like that, I don't know what they were trying to do. Like, you make a joke and then you try to be serious. It didn't work for me. There's also a very hidden agenda of having a whole faith-based type of story as well, and I understand this director, he makes a lot of faith-based films. It wasn't really advertised that way, at least from what I remember. Maybe I've seen a different trailer, but I didn't really like they kind of threw that in there. I felt very schlocky to the film. I don't have a problem necessarily with people and their faith and everything, like what you believe what you want to believe, but I just felt like it was very forced in here. And because this story isn't really centralized on Austin, there's a lot of things like he's really going through. Like, he is going through being bullied, and he's going through just different emotions and how he talks to his parents, and then also the fact that he has to deal with his parents arguing because they don't get along, and they weren't together very long. They were only on a few dates before Austin was actually born, And they also had money problems as well. It kind of dips into that and talks about like Austin's medication. They eventually have to sell the house, and he narrates that as well. But I just felt really sorry for him because he has these two parents. His mom also has the same disease, the brittle bone disease that he has. So I felt sorry for her. She couldn't really work. The father is a spotlight here. And personally, I just didn't really agree with it. It reminded me of a film last year I watched called Ezra. And that was another film where it dealt with autistic children. And in that film, it really focused on the father as well and took away from the child as well. And I just don't really agree with these kinds of films taking away from the actual issue and the actual child and then focusing on something else. And this film does it even worse than Ezra. We get a lot into like the family drama and the marriage not really working, it seems like, and seems to be failing. And then we learn a little bit of trauma about the wife as well, and she has to relive her parents and being divorced, and it just goes really much into the drama with the family. But I felt like with this trying to be like a feel-good story, I just felt like they didn't do a really good job. I felt like there were points where Austin was not on screen enough, and then we're focusing so much on just the mother and father themselves. We get a few different things that he's dealing with, ideas, I would say, of like what he really deals with on a daily basis. Then it cuts from that, and then we're dealing with all this extra family drama. We're throwing in faith-based things and kind of making it kind of schlocky, and I just didn't really agree with it. To me, it just wasn't a very feel-good film to me, and it felt like as the film was progressing towards the end, it just felt like one of those films where it's like, okay, we'll tie a nice, neat little bow on this, and you guys are going to absolutely love it, and you're going to cry at the end. And that's how I felt this film was. It tried to be over the top with drama, not focusing on why we actually bought a ticket to go watch this movie, and then the fact that we're taking away from dealing with the actual kid that is going through this disease, and also the fact that he has autism, and focusing it so much on the drama aspect away from that, it just took away from the movie for me. And honestly, I understand why this was shelved for 3 years. We need a film that does autism justice, like focus on the child and have us really buy into him as a character. And I'm not saying I didn't like him as a character, because I felt like there were moments that I enjoyed from this film with the little boy. But at the same time, as the film is going along with the drama aspect and focusing away from that, it just took away from my enjoyment from the film. And at times, I was kind of bored a little bit, because we were getting into stuff where I was just like, yeah, like that's not why we paid a ticket to watch this film. And it just took away from the subject matter. So I just didn't agree with it overall. So as a score for this one, I would give it a 2 out of 5. I can't give it any more than that. It just wasn't that enjoyable for me, and I just felt like it could have been a lot better film, and it's just the focus with what they did, I just didn't agree with it overall. So let me know in the comments, what did you guys think about The Unbreakable Boy? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you just think it was kind of meh? Thank you guys for watching as always, and I will see you guys next time.